Arena is an RPG DOS game that was released in 1994 by Bethesda Softworks as the first chapter of the Elder Scrolls. And although the Elder Scrolls franchise is popular now, Arena initially sold poorly due to press around the downgrades from the trailers and the box art. The game later became an underground classic, which ensured that the Elder Scrolls would be at least a third grade reading level. Arena starts by telling you that the empire known as Tamriel sucks, so it's called the Arena. Then you can start a new character, and then are told that the Emperor of Tamriel was betrayed and sent to another realm by Jaeger Thorn. Thorn also took place as the Emperor and stitched his apprentice before she snitched. After creating a character to your liking, the dead apprentice, Rhea Silmain, tells you that she's dead and that you're her last hope. You then begin your journey. You find a key to the room you're locked in. Across the room, you follow the directions you were given, smack a couple rats, and click on the shift gate, which brings up a prompt that asks you one of many questions. The answers to which are found in the Arena manual. Now this is the game's way of preventing progress for people who lose things easily or have a pirated copy of the game, which in a pre-WikiLeaks era was actually pretty effective. After answering correctly, you can exit the dungeon. In order to go on with the main quest, you have to level up and then go to sleep. Rhea again comes to you in a dream and says that you need the Staff of Chaos to free the Emperor, but Thorn dropped it while using the toilet, so the 8 pieces of the staff are now all spread across Tamriel. She then tells you that the first piece is in Fang Lair, but she doesn't tell you where Fang Lair is, so you have to ask around until you ask the ruler of Rihad, who needs you to retrieve a parchment for her to measure. After going to Stone Keep, picking up the parchment and returning it to her, she marks Fang Lair on your map. You then can pass go and collect the first piece of the staff, and the rest of the staff collecting follows that same formula of sleep, Rhea says a location, ask around until someone knows about it, the person asks for something that helps find or unlock the location, get the thing, get it to them, collect the piece of the staff, and then maybe get ambushed by Tharn. After going through 16 dungeons and collecting all 8 pieces of the staff, Tharn tells you that the staff is useless and challenges you to a deal 1v1 on Dust. Unfortunately, you haven't downloaded the latest patch yet, so you settle it at the Imperial City Palace instead. And once you get to the Imperial City Palace basement, the fight begins. But in order to kill Tharn, you have to go across the room to the Jewel of Fire, and once you touch the Staff of Chaos to it, Jaeger Thorn dies, the Emperor is freed, you're named Eternal Champion, and the main quest line is finished. So now I'm going to talk about the side quests. A side quest is one that isn't the main quest, and they consist of breathing, asking strangers for directions, delivering things, retrieving things, escorting people, and slapping monsters. And I'd love to go into more detail about the side quests, but it's difficult because most aspects of the side quests are randomly generated, and really quite a bit of the game is, which is something that both Arena and Daggerfall were criticized for. Reviewers said, it too frequently felt like all the different parts were disconnected, unoriginal, or out of place, which when Todd Howard started working for Bethesda, he said he really wanted to change that, and he continued on in an interview saying, Morrowind was the first big step towards making a more coherent, and more importantly, a less random game. And now we're at a point where I think we should just keep on releasing Skyrim. It's predictable, and there's no randomness involved. I fear that if we were to make another Elder Scrolls game that wasn't Skyrim, the players wouldn't even know how to install it, let alone enjoy it. Arena has quite a few systems that are different from the later Elder Scrolls games. Some of those things are from its tabletop RPG influences, like attacks can do a range of damage, a critical strike, or no damage at all. During character creation, the player rolls for the starting stats and gold, and when entering some areas, the game will give a description to help immerse the player. And there's plenty more things that separate Arena that aren't stolen from D&D, like you can fast travel to all the cities from the start, magic is a lot simpler and more powerful, lockpicking is replaced with lock punching, and the player's character is extremely nearsighted or has acute I can't see buildings disorder. I think most of these changes are for the better, but some of those things fit Arena because it's a different game. The map is so big and boring that without fast travel, most people wouldn't play more than a couple hours, and the game feels slightly more turn-based, so the randomness of attacks doesn't seem all too out of place. But I do think Arena is a product of its time, and honestly, part of my enjoyment came from that. When I first started playing, I felt lost and really gross, but as I learned the game and found my way to the first dungeon, I went to an inn and took a shower, so I didn't feel as gross anymore. And it's that sense of discovery, not only of the map and characters, but also the mechanics and systems, that makes me feel like I'm just playing a video game for the first time again. But even with that nostalgia, the game's slowness and clunkiness are really grating. During dungeons, it's slightly annoying, but it's understandable because dungeons are meant to be a task. What really bothers me is when traveling around cities, because they're so big and confusing that it takes a lot of time and feels like more of a challenge than it ever should be. The way I feel about Arena is that I like the experience the game gave me more than the actual game itself, but I do realize not everyone is going to have that experience, and there are probably other games that would make me feel similar. So that's why I'm going to give Arena a 5 out of 10, but it has a chance of being an 8 out of 10 if you roll an even.
You're smacking things.